What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction video. In this one we have 20 things to know before coming to Australia. I feel like I've watched enough videos to know everything that I should know, but there's always more to know, and you don't know what you don't know. Anyway, we're going to dive into the video. If you happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Let's see what we got.
Thinking about traveling to Australia soon? Well, here's 20 things you need to know before you go. Hey guys, Chris from Stoked for Travel here, or welcome back to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any video goodness. Now today we're going to talk about one of my favorite countries in the world, Australia. Now, over the last 10 years of bouncing around the globe, Australia is the country I've spent the most amount of time in. There's so many things to see, do and experience here. Now, if you're busy planning your trip to Australia, here's 20 things that I think you need to know before you go to Australia. Everything from goon hangovers through to the best ways to travel, things you can't miss out on, little hints and tips that I've picked up along the way. So yeah, let's get started. Now, one of the most common mistakes everyone makes when traveling to Australia for the first time is underestimating the size of the country and the travel times and distances. There's over 2,400 kilometers between Sydney and Cairns on the east coast alone, so don't expect to be able to cram everything into 7 days. In fact, you'll need at least 3 weeks to cover Sydney to Cairns comfortably, and ideally 4 to 6 weeks if you want to be a bit more flexible with your plans. And then of course there's heaps of other parts of Australia as well as the east coast, such as the Northern Territory, the Red Centre, of course Western Australia as well. Bottom line on that one, guys, is don't expect to bounce between destinations in a couple of hours. You might need to take some internal flights as well. So yeah, don't underestimate your travel times and distances.
Yeah, I feel like I've said like something about when I lived in Texas, I could drive like 10 hours and still be in Texas. And someone from Australia like laughed in the comment section about that because like you guys can drive for much more than 10 hours and still you're still in that state. You feel me? And so yeah, Australia, I believe it's about the same size as the U.S., if not just a tad bit smaller, but about the same size as the U.S. And you is it called 6 states or is it called 6 territories? 6 states and 2 territories? I just listened to a video about this and I can't remember. But all that area in 6 states and 2 territories, that's what I'm going to say. If I'm wrong, just correct me in the comment section, please. Yeah, you can imagine it take forever to get out of your state. All right, here we go. Goon overs.
Next up is the fact that goon is going to be your best friend, but also your worst enemy. Now, goon is the nickname given to the cheap box wine found out here in Australia, and it has horrendous hangovers. So why are you going to end up drinking it in the first place? Well, to put it in perspective, a 6-pack of beer in Australia is around about 18 to 20 bucks, and 5 litres of goon, so wine, 30.
I feel like every time I hear about the price of Australian beer, I get this surprised look on my face. But I've heard it in many videos, but 6-pack of Australian beer being 18 to 20 bucks is absolutely mind-blowing to me. It's going to shock me every single time I hear it. No matter how many times I hear it, it will shock me every time. My days.
13% is also going to set you back about $20. So if you're budget traveling around Australia, what do you think you're going to end up pre-drinking with? Goon. Just beware of the horrendous hangovers, guys, the weird trippy dreams. I've done a whole other blog post on goon, so make sure you check out the links in the description below for that one. But yeah, goon, best friend, and also worst enemy.
Yeah. When I first started drinking, there was an alcohol, Four Loko. I don't know if you guys have ever drunk it, but I was in college. It was very cheap to drink, and it was the cheapest way to get drunk. So I would chug a couple Four Lokos, and that hangover was one of the worst things that I've ever experienced. I just felt so sick almost the entire next day. I probably didn't heal till like 4 p.m. the next day. It was one of the most sickening feelings. Even the smell of a Four Loko now will absolutely, I feel my stomach getting sick as soon as I sniff one. It's insanity.
Another thing to keep in mind when you head to Australia for the first time is the fact there are quite a variety of bus options to choose from. Now, the most popular way of getting around Australia is the Greyhound passes. They do a hop-on, hop-off, and also a Wimmet pass. You've also got the Premier bus. It's slightly less flexible, but it is a lot cheaper. And then you've got things like Stray Australia, so it's kind of a semi-guided tour. And of course, you've got heaps of other options as well for getting around, such as camper van hire, car hire, and more. So yeah, make sure you look into your travel options and check out the crew from RTW Backpackers for the best ways to travel around Australia.
That's fire.
Now, another thing I recommend to everyone heading to Australia for the first time is do not overlook Western Australia. Yes, the East Coast is where a lot of the fun, crazy times are happening, things like Whitsundays and Fraser Island, but Western Australia is not to be missed. I camper van from Perth to Darwin along the west coast of Australia, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. You've got crazy places like the Pinnacles and Wave Rock. You've got wineries down at Margaret River, and of course spots like Coral Bay, Shark Bay, and Monkey Mire with wild dolphins as well. And of course you've got spots like Broome and Exmouth, incredible scuba diving with whale sharks and manta rays, and then you've just got the landscape in general. So yeah, if you want to make the most of Australia, don't miss out on WA.
Wow, that's so freaking awesome. Just traveling, it makes it sound like so amazing. Getting to travel to a different country and experience all the fun things and the new culture about Australia. And he's like, hey, the East Coast, we got a lot of fun on the East Coast, plenty of fun. But don't you dare estimate Western Australia. A lot of great things among there as well. I'm telling you, one day I have to come. I just need to make enough. I need to make enough to be able to fund the trip. But then the bus options, plenty of different options to get around. It seems like the bus options would be cheaper than like a car hire or something like that. I'm not completely sure, so if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But let's continue.
Now, one of my top tips for traveling to Australia for the first time is pencil in lots of time for Byron Bay. Now, if you've been following my adventures for a while, you know that Byron Bay is by far my favourite spot on the East Coast. So many awesome things to do here. This barefoot hippie town is full of incredible beaches and amazing surf. Make sure you check out my full guide to Byron Bay in the links below. And yeah, pencil in plenty of time for Byron Bay. Now, even though Byron Bay is my favourite stop along the East Coast, Yamba is the hidden gem. This sleepy little beachside town sits a couple hours south of Byron, so it's a great place to stop off on the way up to Byron or on the way south down to Sydney. It's all about quiet vibes here, beach life, and incredible surf. A lot of the locals describe it as Byron 25 years ago, so if you're looking to explore a nice little quiet beachside town, Yamba's the place to head.
I've never surfed in my life, nor do I think I can surf. I'm just not built for it, and I'm not there. I can't try it because I'm not made for surfing. But it makes Byron Bay as well as Yamba sound absolutely incredible. It sounds like Byron Bay is a lot of fun, and a lot of people go out there and absolutely have a blast, pencil a lot of your time out, right? Enjoy your time in Byron Bay. But then Yamba is like a quieter, smaller version of Byron Bay. I think he said somebody described this Byron Bay 25 years ago. So it's a hidden gem. So if you just want to enjoy the beach, but you don't want to enjoy too many people around you, it sounds like Yamba is the spot.
Now, when it comes to the best things to do on the East Coast of Australia, the two tours I recommend you don't miss out on are Fraser Island and the Whitsundays. Now, Fraser Island is the world's largest sand island, and here you can head out on a 4x4 tag-along tour, where you can cruise along the beach highways and through rainforest tracks. It's a really awesome option to do, and I definitely recommend the overnight camping tours, as you get to sleep under the stars and enjoy an amazing campfire. Now, when it comes to the Whitsundays, you've got those incredible views across Whitehaven Beach and Hill Inlet. And for me, the overnight sailing tours are the way to go. Sleep on a boat, doing some incredible snorkeling, and explore more of what these islands have to offer. Of course, if you are short on time or don't have the budget for the overnight options, there are amazing day trips there too. If you want more help finding the best Fraser Island and Whitsundays tours, check out the links in the description below. Now, for those of you who are looking to stay in hostels while you're traveling around in Australia, one word of advice, they do vary massively in both price and quality, so do your research before you book. There are plenty of incredible flash packer accommodation options all around the country that are a little bit more pricey but do have lots more facilities and comfort. And of course, there are some budget options that aren't so great as well. Best bit of advice I can give you on this is do your research and check out the reviews before you book.
I think my best friend, my bro, she have a channel with him. I don't know if you guys seen the Dream Team Gang 2D. He got to go to, what was it, Amsterdam or something not too long ago, where he stayed in a hostel, and he said it was pretty cool. But that's really cool. I feel like, yeah, if I were to come, either one of you guys would have to let me sleep on the couch or something. It'd be all money, dude. Or I have to go to a hostel because hotels. After that trip, I probably wouldn't have the money, but I would love to be able to go on these day trips. Probably not overnight. That looks expensive. But love to go on these day trips and just experience these islands and experience. Sleeping on a boat sounds awesome. Like, I don't know how I'd be if I'd be seasick or not, but I just love, I don't know. There's a part of me inside that wants to travel, and I feel like that part of me didn't wake up until I started reacting to videos outside of the U.S. and seeing everything, all the countries and all the different things they have to offer. And like now I want to experience different cultures and different foods and different people and just a lot of different things. But budget wise, I can't be experiencing much.
Now, the other thing that a lot of people tend to underestimate before traveling to Australia is how much it costs to travel in Australia. In fact, on my average budget for a backpacker, it works out about 109 Aussie dollars a day. But this does include all your amazing trips, tours, accommodation options, and a food budget along the East Coast as well. If you want more advice on that one, check out the link in the description below for my full budget breakdown.
I don't have
that. Being said, though, it is totally worth it, and even though Australia is more expensive to travel than spots like Bali, Asia, Thailand and places like that, it is definitely well worth it, so don't let that put you off. And even though Australia can be pretty pricey to travel around in, you can also earn heaps of money here on a working holiday visa. Now, for a lot of countries that can get a 12-month working holiday visa, you can expect to earn between $20 to $25 even for jobs like bartending or dishwashing as well. So yeah, it's pretty easy to make that bank, put it in your savings, and then expend it all on traveling afterwards. So yeah, if you can do a working holiday visa, make sure you get it done.
There you go. All right, he said, hey, this is how you handle that budget issue. You come down here, you get a job. If I was to come, I want to experience everything. I wouldn't want to stay for too long, maybe like 3 to 4 weeks. But more realistically, 2 weeks. 2 weeks because I wouldn't have a budget for 3 or 4 weeks, and I wouldn't want to get a job while I was out there. I want to experience everything. I want to record, make all kind of videos. But yeah, about 2 weeks. I feel like I could have a really good time visiting and exploring Australia. Taxes.
And if you do your working holiday visa in Australia, make sure you claim back your tax and your superannuation. Now, both of these are really quick and simple to do online. I've left a link in the description below for my full guide. And with up to £3,000 as an average backpacker refund, you'd be stupid not to do it.
Yeah.
And even if you're not keen on a working holiday visa, getting a tourist visa into Australia is relatively simple to do and usually free. I've left a link in the description below to the official Australian immigration site so you can check out your eligibility. But for most countries, it's easy enough to get a free visa online that is processed super quickly as well. So go check them out.
That's awesome.
Now, another thing people tend to overlook when planning their trip to Australia is, yes, it does get cold and Australia does have a winter. In fact, it can get pretty chilly in the southern parts such as Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney and Tasmania. So you might even have to pack a jumper for your Australia trip. Now, the Aussie winter runs through May to September, so be aware when planning your itinerary. That being said, though, the tropics in the north are amazing at that time of year as well, and places like Cairns, the Red Centre and Darwin in the Northern Territory are incredible to explore during the Aussie winter and to escape the colder climates.
Yeah, I feel like it would be hard to come during summer because I believe in Australia, like, our winter is like y'all's summer. And I feel like our winter usually has like the holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, things that you spend with your friends and family, or that I do. And then there's a lot of birthdays in my family in the winter months. So usually got to be around for those. But I can't come in the summer. Can't come in our summer, y'all's winter. I hate cold. I hate cold. I hate cold. I hate cold.
Now, one of my other top tips for traveling around Australia is camper vanning is heaps of fun and is something you should definitely do. Sure, it's not as cheap and easy as things like the Greyhound passes, but camper vanning is super fun, flexible, and who can beat a good road trip? So even if you just fit in a small road trip, such as the Great Ocean Road, which is a great one to do for like 3 or 4 days, or even your trip from Sydney up to Byron Bay is an awesome New South Wales road trip, it's definitely one trying to do if you can fit it into your plans. Now, also along the traveling side of things, keep in mind that it can be cheaper to fly in Australia than bus or camper van. And the most obvious option with this is if you're trying to get from the East Coast to the West Coast, so flying from like Cairns or Brisbane across to Perth or Darwin, that's definitely cheaper to fly. But it's also worth factoring in your time as well as your money. Now, you can easily get an overnight bus between Sydney and Byron Bay, but you can also fly from Sydney to Ballina and get there within just a few hours as well. And in actual fact, when you weigh it up against how much that takes off your bus pass as well, it can work out way cheaper to fly. Check out companies such as Virgin Australia and Jetstar for some awesome internal flights, but make sure you do your research and you could find out flying is the way to go. Now, when it comes to making the most of your money whilst traveling Australia, getting a package deal really does work out cheaper. If you were to book all your accommodations and your tours separately along the route independently, it definitely works out much more expensive than packaging it all together. Sure, if you're traveling around Australia for a long period of time, say 6 to 12 months, you don't want to bundle in all your accommodation and keep your itinerary fixed. But you can bundle in all your tours together through people like RTW Backpackers. Their links in the description below, and it will save you heaps along the way.
Yeah.
If you are coming out to Australia on a
I was gonna say, I feel like it would make sense, for a short time to just do a bundle package, and I do feel like that would save you money, but also you'd get to experience a lot. You feel me? So you're not going out there just kind of willy nilly, nothing in mind. But you have a bundle package where you get to experience so much, and it all comes like an all inclusive, which I feel like always is saving money if you want to go out and experience and do a lot of things.
Shorter period of time, say 2 to 3 weeks, putting together your itinerary and getting all booked in advance definitely works out cheaper. So make sure you hit up the guys from RTW Backpackers and they'll hook you up with the best deal. And along those lines as well, it's worth pointing out that there's so much to do in Australia, so make sure you do heaps of planning so you don't miss out on anything. Things like surf lessons, dolphin kayaking, Fraser Island, Whitsundays, Magnetic Island, Cape Tribulation, Cairns Waterfall, Sydney Harbour Bridge Climb, the Great Ocean Road, touring round Ayers Rock, feeding wild dolphins in Monkey Mile. There's heaps to see and do. Now, if you want to check out my full Aussie bucket list, the link's in the description below so you don't miss out on any of those awesome experiences.
It absolutely looks like there's so much to do in this, seeing the wildlife and the koala. I'm not a big wildlife guy, although I love to go to zoos and everything. I guess as long as I'm not close enough to touch the wildlife, I'm all about the wildlife. But that koala was absolutely adorable. And I've heard from many different videos, from many different comments about all the things in Australia to do.
And for scuba divers, it's worth pointing out that Australia is full of incredible diving, but not just at the Great Barrier Reef. Sure, the Great Barrier Reef is pretty awesome and it's definitely worth ticking off your scuba diving bucket list, but spots like Julian Rocks in Byron Bay, the SS Yacht Longala, Seal Rocks, and of course Ningaloo Reef are well worth checking out and getting under the water for too. So yeah, if you're scuba diving in Australia, make sure you check out all the awesome sites. Now, when it comes to making the most of your money in Australia, work for accommodation is by far the best way to save money on your travels in Australia. Now, work for accommodation is basically where you trade a few hours a day at a hostel for a free bed and also potentially some meals as well. I spent over 6 months doing that on my first trip to Australia and saved absolutely heaps. Not only did I get a free bed for the night, I also got a free nightly meal and a bar tab as well. So yeah, make sure you check out the hostel receptions, ask for work for accommodations and score yourself a sick job. In fact, it can work out even better than doing paid work.
I like that.
Now, one of my favorite little hidden tips about traveling in Australia is the fact there are free barbecues everywhere. Yeah, totally free to use, and most of them have incredible beachside views as well. All you have to do is press a button, they heat up, and you can get cooking. All they ask is you clean them up and leave them in a good state for the next traveler as well. So yeah, don't be that dude. Make sure you tidy up after yourself. And there you have it, guys. Those are my 20 things I think you should know before you head to Australia. Now, if you want any more info about traveling in Australia, make sure you check out the links in the description below from all my written guides. That includes everything from budgets, itineraries, to tour reviews and accommodation options as well. And of course, if you have any questions, chuck them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. So that's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Phew.
I feel like he's genuinely an awesome guy. The fact that he's willing to like help people who want to travel to Australia so they can have like the best experience possible is really amazing. He's giving out all the tips and everything. Free, and when he said free barbecues, I thought he meant like people was barbecuing and giving food away for free, and I was about to be like, because I don't turn down free food unless I don't like it. But Australia, like I said, I've seen from so many different videos, so many people who traveled over to Australia and just absolutely enjoyed it. I can tell it's an incredible country full of incredible, laid back, chill, hilarious people. And y'all are like my Aussie brothers and sisters. I feel like through so many videos, we share a little bond. Correct me if you don't feel that bond, but that's all we have. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.